All right, guys, welcome back to Jerk Block Talk. I am Jason Fernandez. We're here at CrossFit Rife, and today here's what I would like to talk about. So there's a lot of topics that they're kind of spin-off topics of this discussion, but what I want you to take away from today is that everything you do within your class structure should be designed around allowing the coaches on the floor to manage every level of athlete. Okay, so what I mean by that is everything that you do should be applicable to the person who it's their first day all the way to the person who's been here for 5 years. Now, again, we could have a lot of side conversations about like, well, you should be on-ramping athletes and all of that stuff. Again, there's a lot of variables that come into account with how you onboard your athletes. But what I'll tell you is this: if you structure your classes this way, if you do on-ramp or you do intro sessions, those will just be a ton of added value, but you'll still be giving a great course of instruction for all athletes because their learning is continual all the time. So, but here's what I want to what I'm alluding to is, so when you design your classes, and there's kind of like 3 major pieces to the design of your class, and it's kind of similar to your session plan, but this is kind of more your actions and not necessarily like the step-by-step plan. When you give the brief, and then there's the teaching of the movements, and then there's the class logistics, which is actually how you set up your classroom. When you give the brief, you should be giving the brief with the intention of having to cover all the scaling options, right? So I don't want to just say, we're doing Amanda today, guys. It's, 975 of muscle up and snatch at 135 and just leave it at that. That would be an insufficient brief for that workout. What I would prefer to do would be able to go through something like that and then give scaling options for that. So now I'm catering to everybody in the class. The same thing when I'm teaching movements. I don't want to just teach the most complex movements. I want to start with the most basic movements and then work my way through all the way until I get to the more complex movements. And we have another video on kind of using checkpoints to teach complex movements, and it kind of talks you through how exactly to do that. But again, I'm covering all the athletes that could be in that class all the time. And then lastly, set up the logistics for your classroom based on the needs of the athletes. So if people aren't necessarily doing pull-ups and they're doing ring rows, like, you should set the rings up to where everything is logistically sound, the flow of the class is appropriate for all the athletes involved. I don't want my advanced athletes to have to, navigate a ton of equipment to get where they have to go because we have people that are doing a bunch of different scales. So look at the logistics of your classroom and make sure that I'm facilitating something that works for everybody that's in the class. But again, the real focus here, everything that you do should be that scenario where I have a new person and an experienced person in the same class. And that's really, really what I want to do. Your ability to manage that scenario tells me and somebody that walks into your gym a lot about you as a coach. If you can manage that and it's seamless and it's effortless and everybody's getting what they want, you've done a fantastic job. So that's the goal. But what I'll tell you is, you're not going to be able to do that if it's not on your mind and you're not making a conscious effort to make sure that I'm catering to all of those skill levels, all of those experiences when I give the brief, when I teach complex movements, and when I lay out the classroom to put equipment down on the floor. So keep that in mind all the time. Before you walk into the class, you should just make an assumption and say, I'm going to have somebody who's it's their first day, and I'm going to have one person that's been here for 5 years, and they both need to get what they want out of what they came here for today. So again, we'll do some more in-depth stuff on like how to create your session plans and how to actually execute this plan, but just having it on your mind will put you in a better spot when you walk into the classroom, and you'll be thinking about some of these finer details that'll help you run a better class. If you have any questions, guys, please put them in the comments. If this stuff is valuable for you, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.